Okay, we will call to order the City of Ojai Parks and Rec Commission regular meeting for Thursday, July 7th. Commissioner Gilbert, will you lead us with the Pledge of Allegiance first?
Oh, okay.
Thanks.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call.
Oh, excuse me, hold on. I was going to remind you to turn your mics on, but I didn't have mine on. Commissioner Gilbert.
Here.
Commissioner Wilson.
Here.
Commissioner Intner.
Here.
Chair Dutter.
Here.
Commissioner Firestone.
Here. Thank you. Public comments, I don't have any. Doesn't look like there's anybody. Presentations, none tonight. Moving right along. Police Department report. How you doing, sir?
Good, how are you? I got the feeling that we want to keep it short tonight.
No.
Since I don't say a whole lot, I can help you out. So, since last time I was here, it was a busy month in Ojai. First of all, the 4th of July parade and fireworks, I like to say that they went off without any problems, and it seemed like everybody had a really good time. And it was great to see everybody come out and enjoy those events. However, we did have a visitor from out of town come up during the 4th of July, and he decided to steal a backpack from somebody from the Hi-Ho restaurant. Well, we're lucky that we had some video surveillance and we got a picture of the person. And by sending it out to the press and to other law enforcement agencies, we had numerous responses back, and we were able to identify who the person was. And good news is that we contacted him, and we got the property back to the owner. So it was a laptop, and I'm sure everybody knows how much information we keep on our laptop, and we don't want to lose that. And some of it's you can't replace, so that was good news. Another interesting event that happened last week is we had a bear decide to take a sleep near the tennis courts on Fox Street. Well, it turns out that he was actually ill. I'm not sure exactly what he had, some type of infection that made him dehydrated, and that's why he was just laying there. So he was tranquilized at the time. He was removed and taken to a wildlife veterinarian, and they decided that they had to put the bear down, which is sad, but I'm sure that was the last thing they wanted to do. But it did cause some little excitement over at the tennis courts when people were playing tennis and they found a bear laying next to the tennis courts. The only other thing we had was, we did have we had somebody try to break in 2 restaurants in the city. And luckily, when they tried to break in, the alarms went off, and it scared off the suspect. When our detectives looked into it, there were recent burglaries at restaurants in Ventura and even down in Oxnard. So our detectives are working with them to find out who may have been up here trying to get into our businesses. But since then, that week, he hasn't come back, so maybe he thinks all the restaurants and businesses in Ojai have alarms, which is a good thing. The only other thing I have is there was another vehicle burglary when the vehicle was parked at the trailhead. Again, I'd like to remind everybody not to leave valuables in their vehicles when they go hiking, because people look for it. In this instance, somebody left a purse there, and I think when the crooks went in there and they actually saw that there was nothing in the purse, they left the purse and everything behind. So I just want to remind people, even if it looks valuable or it looks like it possibly could be valuable, the crooks will make the effort and break into cars. So again, if anything even looks valuable, even though it's not, please lock it up in the trunk or not take it with you when you go hiking. So, well, that's all I have for you. Any questions?
Anybody? No? All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Have a great night.
You too, have a good night. Next was the Public Works report. Mr. Grant was unfortunately not able to be here. I know he had some family
some
emergency.
personal
issues.
personal
So,
issues to
no
tend to up
problem.
north. Yeah.
So regarding the update on the restrooms and the parking lot, do you have any updates, or would you like?
I
would
do
you like
have
to
a
share?
little bit.
Okay.
He was able to share some stuff
Okay.
with me to share with you, but he well, there's no guarantees in life, but he said he will be at our next meeting. He
August
plans on
meeting.
being here.
Perfect.
Yeah. But some updates that he did give to me, the trash cans, the new trash cans that have been put around the city, they'll be going into Sarasota on the 18th, July 18th. The trash enclosure that was scheduled to go in at Sarasota Park for the dumpster enclosure, that's now going to be it's the same contractors doing the picnic shelters, so
After summer.
he has this, it may be after summer. Greg just said that he has any time between now and when the shelters go in to also install the trash enclosure, so there's no specific date on that, just it might go in at the same time as the shelters at this point. So in regard to the Libby Park restrooms, he said that the goal is to get the restrooms completed by the tennis tournament. So, and I don't know if he's just talking about the restroom up top or both, but he said that there's two options. There's either to go with 12 individual stalls, which of course would be a complete overhaul and redo of those restrooms. That he estimates will be a cost of anywhere between $800,000 to $1 million for that project. So he is working with an architect to come up with two different proposals. So that's one proposal. The other is just to do an upgrade at a cost of about $250,000. So what it's going to boil down to is where's the funding going to come from? He's apparently once those two designs are prepared or two proposals are introduced, he'll talk to the Ojai Civic Association to see if they would be interested or which proposal they would be more interested in supporting potentially. So that's where that is at. But he is working with an architect on those two options and those two cost ranges. The parking lot, the north parking lot at Sarasota, he recommends that we do get it slurry sealed and relined, and that would be at a cost of about approximately $25,000. And that fix is short term. He said that'll be good for 5 to 10 years. And he recommends that because he feels like the Sarasota master plan and that extensive parking lot reconfiguration to get funding there will take at least that long.
Could take it like
So again, he's recommending the short-term fix of slurry seal, and he estimates it at approximately $25,000 to make that upgrade.
Okay.
I would like to know if we could do a little bit of cutting into that, where the mulberry tree is, and cutting into that area. I don't know if that is possible, but that would help some. Because it takes up a lot of that area.
I'm trying to think where
Yeah.
the mulberry.
It's
That's
so
the
in
middle
that
one?
north parking lot. Yes, it's right,
The tree right in the middle of that.
tree that you loop around.
right on Park Road. Basically, it's right
Well-
the closest.
And then
to
in
Park
terms of
Road.
cutting, are you asking like to actually just?
Like, well, yeah, the actual word. Yeah.
I think, again, though, I want to
It-
have this
It
discussion.
does provide shade.
But I think this would be a productive discussion to have with Greg here.
It
which is
would.
what
Yeah,
this was all about.
absolutely.
I love the update, but let's
Absolutely,
wait
yeah.
until.
Of course, yeah,
Really,
I
we
probably-
need to have,
It's premature for me
We do,
to
but I
talk
wanted to
about
know what South Police would like.
adding more space to that lot or how we could potentially cut into that area. You're right, and that would be a great question for sure.
Okay.
because I mean, I know I
Yeah.
have lots of follow-up questions on the restrooms as well, and,
I'm sure you do.
and again,
and-
we're late to the game again.
Well, it's still in the beginning phases, though. I mean, he's working
From my
with an
perspective, I
architect.
think it started without coming to us to talk about, which I would just hope that next time before he starts, he'd come to us to have a preliminary discussion.
Right.
Because it came from us that we really thought it was important. So again, I want to make sure that we're trying to continue to get in at the right place in the process. So I am
Okay.
excited that we'll talk to him next month. I understand
Yep.
it didn't work out this month, but.
Yeah, he had a very
Oh, yeah, no.
good
happens.
reason to be up
Yes.
north. Yeah. It wasn't family vacation, I'll say that much.
I hear ya.
Yeah. Trash enclosure. Oh, and then just a little something about the misters. You've probably heard about the accident that happened out there on the monkey bars. No.
No.
So the misters were installed, and basically where they were installed, it was getting some of the equipment wet, and we actually received a phone call. I had a voicemail stating that the child fell off of those monkey bars, broke his arm, and, what is it the result of the wet monkey bars, or that the monkey bars got wet and the child slipped and broke his arm, or just that the child would have slipped anyway and broke his arm? So we've since shut those misters down. We made the decision to make them unavailable, and I've also been told by Public Works that they've been clogging up easily and not really functioning the way they need to. So there's a couple of issues going on here. The location of the misters and the maintenance of them seems to be high right now. But like any new addition to something, there's got to be bugs to be worked out, so to speak. So there will be some discussion if the location of those misters
Not working,
need to be
yeah.
changed,
Um,
relocated. Yeah.
Did we put in a new water system?
We put in,
A softener?
no,
No.
They
So
ran it
nothing's
off.
been done,
no, they ran it off the old,
system which
System.
nothing changed? Okay,
Correct.
all right.
the cost they decided was,
Prohibitive, all right.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so we did have that one injury potentially as a result of
So
wet.
do we know what the game plan
equipment.
is then, now going forward? I know we've shut them off, but when is this discussion going to happen? Are we going to keep them off indefinitely?
Yeah.
What's
Of course,
do we
when
know what that is?
Greg returns.
Okay.
And I mean, I suggested, we turn them back on, have people out there running those misters and seeing how it affects the equipment, actually
Yeah.
using the equipment and walking across the equipment, because I know there's a bridge close by there too. Does it make the bridge that's there slippery as well? But I think we just need to actually, as staff, experiment for ourselves
Mhm.
how it affects the equipment
Right.
when we turn them on and when we use them, because they were getting quite a bit of use from what I understand, obviously.
Yeah, they were. It was unfortunate that they weren't on July 4th
They,
when
so they weren't.
not on the 4th. So.
Oh.
They were turned off on Friday after Public Works heard about the incident. So I think they were installed last week, and then
Oh.
Public Works heard about the incident on Friday and immediately shut them down, so they were off all weekend.
Yeah, because I hadn't heard about it till when I came in this week on Monday, so I didn't know.
Yeah, it was
till I
unfortunate
got
they weren't
that
on the
voicemail.
4th. I mean, the park was very busy. Were you guys there on the 4th?
I mean,
I didn't go to the park on the 4th.
It was crazy, obviously, after
Yeah.
the parade, but,
yeah,
all
it's
right.
anyone's
Well, we'll
guess
talk to Greg,
about
too.
whether, it was
Okay.
the right call or not, but someone did break an arm, so that might be a quick
Yeah.
reaction to shutting them down completely, but.
Mhm.
And I
Anything
think
else?
that was it. No, that was it on, the updates.
Okay,
I
thank you.
noticed the remaining shade sails were put up above
Yes, they were.
the toddler swings.
Mhm.
So that looks
They
really
were-
good.
Yeah.
And Mister looked great.
Yeah.
Yeah, they looked great.
That's progress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice to see that.
And I don't have any update on the artwork This is a never-ending, the ball from China. I hear. That's the story I always.
No,
yeah.
now it's from the States.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Okay.
We're sourcing it locally.
Okay. And they did do some repair on the brick, on the donor brick walkway. But I was out there yesterday, and I noticed there's still bits and pieces of it coming out.
Yeah,
So
there is, and I'm not
I
sure
don't know
what
I don't know if that's just the old stuff that they hadn't repaired that
Yeah.
was now breaking up, and but they did do a fix on it, and they'll just have to do another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll keep an eye on it.
Yes.
And I know back to the misters real quick, I know there's a second mister that was supposed to be installed that was not installed due to a potential issue with the location of it as well. So
Right.
that Greg, we were discussing, and he's trying to figure out if we can move it a little bit or whatnot as well, so we'll see.
So it goes to future agenda items.
Exactly. So, thank you, though.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Any questions from anybody about any of that? Okay. Approval of minutes from the June 2nd, 2016 regular meeting?
We don't have
We
them
don't
yet.
have those,
We
so
don't
we
have
will
them. They're
table that
pending.
till
Yes,
next
our
month. Right.
records manager was out for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
She had planned that vacation way before being hired, so
Right.
she has a lot of catch-up to do.
That's right.
Fair
Yeah, she
enough.
does. She was-
She'll get there.
All right, moving on to the discussion items. The joint meeting, our joint meeting with City Council is August 9th at 6 PM here. We had discussed bringing back a list of things that you guys might want to discuss while we are there with the City Council. The idea is we will start the meeting with a brief recap of the year, going over Sarasota Master Plan, Libby Park, Playground, anything else we want to add to that. Anything else that you
I
might
have
want to
some
add?
suggestions,
I would, okay.
if you'd like to.
And then we will jump into then discussion items with the city council as well. Keep in mind, we do only have an hour with them, and it is a very tight hour because they're on at 7 right after us, so. Anything we want to bring up with them, though, definitely, let's talk about.
Okay, they're not
Soft?
necessarily discussion items,
Mhm.
they're more of informational. And I know last year, Sunday had done unfortunately, I missed the joint meeting last year, but Sunday had done
A
a
PowerPoint.
PowerPoint presentation. And I think that would be nice. I don't know how long it lasted. We could probably have staff help with that PowerPoint presentation, but I was thinking some highlights that we just informational stuff that we've gone to an interactive guide. I think
Yeah.
that's kind of a nice feature that has helped with our online registration, which we can just mention that it's whatever percentage has gone up, we can talk about that, and that's
Definitely.
as a result of having that interactive guide available. The fact that we're mailing our guides now
Mhm.
will be.
Yeah, I have that on the list.
Yeah, you got that on the list. Our open houses that we've now, we had our 3rd annual open house, and we'll continue that into, as long as they're successful,
Yeah.
and they have been.
Every year.
Yeah, every year. They will be annual events. And of course, obviously, the Sarasota Master Plan and
Mhm.
where that is, and hopefully we'll be bringing that to them soon.
Hopefully, yeah, we'll be seeing that
Yeah,
soon.
maybe by September, possibly. But that's all I
Okay.
had. Oh, well, and budget, just going over budget numbers, those aren't really, that might fall into the discussion item realm as far as the
Maybe we leave.
CIP.
Right, we could put that in the highlights, and that can probably be
Yeah,
one of the latter highlights and first discussion items somewhere in there.
yeah,
Way into that.
because we,
Considering they're working on their budget as well, again,
yeah.
coming up
yeah, but
on the 12th, I think it was,
just,
but yeah.
just the success of the last 2, and now
Exactly.
it'll be 3 years of rise in
Right,
revenue.
okay.
But-
Allison, would that be something you and I can work on together?
The presentation? Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, because I would figure you have probably more pictures and stuff than I
Yes.
do, so,
Yeah, and I can access numbers and things, so,
Yeah,
yeah, we can work
yeah.
together on a
Okay.
PowerPoint.
great.
I'd like to make sure we put the park at night. Not that you wouldn't, but
Oh, yeah, The Libby under
Oh, the
the,
Libby, do the
Under the
Libby,
lights.
the Libby under the lights,
Yes.
because I really like that.
okay.
Absolutely.
And getting back to numbers, yeah, participation numbers, those are always good to include.
Yes.
They do
On the participation topic, the skate park lights, if they could, I know they're in the budget. At least
they're on the
they're
capital
allocated, and
improvement
with
plan,
the last
yeah.
benefit over the weekend on 4th of July, it was a big
Oh.
effort, so it was a cool mention to have those continued. I think they'll, I'll talk with the skate park committee though and to see what the final numbers are for what they raised on the 4th of July. I'm not sure of numbers, but I think it was pretty good.
Yeah, and if you had photos of that too.
Yeah, there are photos going around
Yeah.
online that you can
I
check
saw
out
the pictures
on
online.
Cool State of the World,
might be-
biggest skateboard,
Yeah.
and Tommy Guerrero, who was a skateboarder from quite a while ago, played music, and some other cool stuff was going on. Yeah,
Yeah.
really fun raffle, silent auction.
Yeah.
where was that held, by the way?
Caravan Outpost. It's like a new
It's the one on Bryant, right?
On Bryant
yeah
Street.
Bryant
Yeah,
Street,
Bryant
it's at
Street.
Airstreams and kind of
Yeah.
a general
Yeah.
store
I
and
did,
stuff.
They
I
have
did see that on Facebook.
If you can ask them for a number, as well as
Yeah.
maybe a couple photos, we can throw that in there too.
Perfect. I will.
That'd be great.
Anything, other ideas?
Bike park? I think it would be helpful. I was just talking to Toby today, and we talked yesterday. I think it would be helpful to kind of get some feedback from the council on what they would like to hear or see, so that the next time it comes up at the council meeting, we can be ready with I can help, Brian can help the coalition kind of get information ready, so that it kind of
Mm-hmm.
streamlines the process. So that'd be helpful. I think another thing too would be our process. Like, I'm thinking specifically working with Greg, but in general, kind of how we interact with city staff. Just 'cause it keeps coming up that like we feel like we're getting inserted in a process too
Halfway
late.
through, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there will be, well, it's not completely connected, but on the July 12th council meeting, there's going to be a discussion on commission roles and responsibilities. So maybe some of this body can be in attendance for that council meeting and weigh in, and that might be
Yeah.
might
But-
be
Yeah.
pertinent
But it's
to
a
what
perfect
you're
time.
talking about.
It's a perfect time to do it at this joint meeting. I think you're
Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
right.
We'll bring that up regarding how we work with staff, as well as like specific times of the year, like the capital improvements and all
Right.
that, and projects, and coming to us before they get put on the list and everything. So that will be on there. For
So
sure.
CIP process and budgeting
Yep, that will be on the list as a discussion
item, yes.
with council.
And I think what Ryan's saying, I mean, it's similar but different, in that there are going to be projects coming up throughout the year at different times, and it's a discussion of where we want to see ourselves being included in the process, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sounds good, that'll be on there. The other one was Libby Park and Libby Bowl. There's been a lot of discussion about what our role as a commission should be with the bowl, with the Libby Bowl ad hoc committee that's going on, or the festivals committee, I think it's called right now.
Obflac or something,
Yes.
yes.
As well as Libby Park in general. So I know council is interested in talking about that as well. So that's something that will be a discussion item as well.
And that would actually be something here that, there's history to this.
Yeah.
Most people are pretty new. Before the bowl was remodeled or rebuilt, that came under the Parks Commission. Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, that was where it's at. I mean, staff still booked it, but it was run through the same way that other kinds of activities were run through. Rec had some influence in
Yeah.
Yeah.
it. You guys
Well,
didn't book
it
it.
was- no,
It was
it
booked
was
separately, but it
Public
came
Works,
to
I
the,
think.
it was a combination of the two working together, I think, but the commission that it came to was here long ago. We would get reports on it.
So it's probably prior to my involvement. I'll
And
say
obviously
that.
the bull is a specific animal.
Yeah.
But it's something that, it's still,
It does have soft borders that go kind
In
of
the park.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But but I do think there's a contract in the works or coming close to finality for Sterling Venture. So,
That's to put on
I'm
some
not sure.
shows.
well,
That's-
yeah,
But
to
that's
put in
not to
shows,
manage
that's
the
not
bowl.
to
It's a real
manage
separate
necessarily.
issue. I mean,
They
they're
are
two
s-
different things.
They are separate, yes, this
How
is
how
true.
the city manages it and how it's run internally, which is
Sure,
is
And
even
that's-
over the
that's
Sterling
part of the
part of it.
discussion as well,
Yeah.
is should that contract have come to us first and then gone to the council, or gone to the festival committee, to us, to the council, however, you know. So
It's-
that is part of the
It's
discussion.
an organizational question, I think.
Yes, exactly. Another one will be the possibility of the Soul Park joint use. There's a couple council members as well that have expressed a high level of interest there as well, so that'll be on there.
And that, for history here, came up at the county side, they didn't have time at the time, we had time, and then things changed here. So it's kind of, we've been circling around it, but nothing's happened. So I think
Yeah.
we're close to making something happen
Hopefully,
as far
yes.
as a meeting and some discussion.
Yeah,
Steve was
Yeah.
spearheading that, of course, in the
Exactly.
beginning, and then he passed on a couple of emails to me that I won't say dropped the ball, but I need to actually arrange a meeting.
I emailed him before the 4th of
Recommended a
July.
meeting of
Yeah.
I emailed the gentleman from the county,
representative.
yeah, before the 4th of July, and
Oh.
haven't heard back, but 4th of July, all that, and everything that goes with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So,
That there should be, we
yeah, to
can,
at
to
least-
try to set up a meeting.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
for
we'll get
that.
the ball rolling on that. But that's something that we should discuss briefly with the city council. I know we have
Yeah.
the list keeps growing, and we do only have an hour with them, but some of these will be hopefully brief. But
Well, you'll get a lot of support from Council Member Haney regarding Soul Park.
yes,
You know, even when
indeed.
we was on this commission, he brought up Soul Park many a time.
Oh, a lot.
Exactly. Anything else anybody has any wants to add to the list? Sage?
I'm really pretty focused on the CIP
CIP
process.
and Libby.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's probably enough.
Possibly complete streets. I did hear some at the last meeting about complete streets, but that's probably going to be along with budgeting and stuff like that, because that's kind of
Yeah, I don't-
associated with that.
Yeah, I'm not sure where that
As in
falls.
participation with them, or
Well, just yeah, I guess.
how do
that's-
they? Okay.
How that? I guess that also falls under kind of when we get folded into the process as far as.
That one is completely open to us, even now.
Mhm.
It's just, yeah, I think that one,
I've been following it, but there's a lot more projects than they're specific kind of all around. So it's.
no, it's a big deal. It's,
Yeah,
it's
it's
a
a
lot
big-
to, I know, to come to it at this
yeah.
point, there's a lot to learn,
But
because they've done a lot of
I
work.
guess I just add that to the list just because it's a big project. I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah,
Okay.
the link between the two of those, and
Yeah.
Making
and
sure that we're
just
realizing
this-
the-
Yeah, since it does fall in between here, it has a lot to do with Caltrans. Like road
park
crossings
connection.
and, you know, how it.
the connectivity.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's a pretty detailed thing, so the more information on that, that would be awesome.
Okay.
Sounds good. Anybody else? No? That's a lot in an hour, so
Yeah, no, we're already,
we'll talk fast.
some of it rolls together.
Exactly, it does, so, okay.
And as far as preparing for that, is that, you got that, or you want some help?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
You want
Both.
help? Or you-
Yeah, help would
Happy
be
to
appreciated
help.
that way, yeah. Okay, we'll get together, and maybe we can get together with Allison and start putting stuff together.
Mhm.
Perfect. All right, thank you. 8B, the Libby Park tennis courts and the usage.
We need a futsal.
We do.
Need a
that-
futsal court is what,
Yeah.
it's just the is the easy answer.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's in our master plan, but I don't know, you know, there's a long discussion about phasing, what phase, and
Mhm.
what we go for first in that master plan. But currently, we are, Councilmember Laura had brought it up, I believe, at the last budget
Yeah.
meeting.
Actually,
Yeah, and it's an ongoing issue where that soccer group would like a space, a hard court space, or at least an enclosed space where they can play that sort of futsal, faster type game where there isn't ball running out of bounds for whatever reason, and in the evening. So it does make it challenging, and we're looking for this commission I mean, I don't know.
It's coming
what
back to us
possible
now.
solutions.
What's the impetus of right now that it's coming back to us?
It just popped up
Just-
again.
Just because they continue to use the courts.
Yeah.
And
And the group reached out
And-
to Councilmember Laura.
Okay, so they've
Last
met
month,
and had a
again.
discussion.
well, I don't know if he must know some of the participants.
Yeah.
And actually, there was a group out at our park on last Wednesday, wanting to use the goals. That's a longer story, but in that conversation with them about wanting us to allow use of those goals, I was asking, hey, are any of you involved in I think it's usually Monday night when they go out there in the Monday night tennis court soccer, and they said yes. So I gave them my business card and said, come in and talk to me
Yeah.
so we can
Right.
work out some solutions. I said one possible would be potentially on Sundays indoor soccer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what kind of impact that would have on in our gym.
On
I don't
the
know what
ten-
kind of impact that would have for our gym, but
And
they
the
play on Monday nights. That's the night when they can all get together.
What's happening to the tennis courts? What's the downside right now? Just
The downside is people who are participating, playing tennis on the courts, feel it's a safety issue
Okay.
because the soccer ball will fly out of that court and go onto
To the next one.
into the next, and it's a rowdy game. You know, tennis is a more mellow, quiet.
It's not a concern
game.
of
It's not.
equipment and things breaking
It's not-
down.
yeah. it's not a
Well, it could
damage
be
to-
that could be too. You know, if they're
But it
kicking
hasn't
around,
been, or is
it
it?
hasn't been.
Okay.
It hasn't been an issue, so it's not as if the nets get destroyed and damaged.
So there's not a matter
although
of
it could-
damage, it's more an issue right now of people not liking the noise and feeling it's unsafe.
Yes, and I would add a little bit that it's probably going to have a maintenance impact on the courts, just because everyone that plays tennis isn't maybe necessarily wearing the proper footwear, but I imagine soccer players and what they might be wearing on their feet on the tennis courts again aren't going to be compatible with the courts. I think they're going to, my personal opinion is they'll potentially negatively
You're not saying they're
affect
wearing
the
cleats,
courts.
because I don't think they're wearing cleats.
No,
Okay,
I
just to be
don't
clear,
know.
they're not wearing
I don't
cleats.
know.
Black
No,
sole-
I actually
they're
don't.
not.
shoes
They're not,
and
'cause they would
whatever,
I doubt
whatever.
it. But black
Yeah.
Okay.
black
Exactly.
sole shoes, and that's not to say that tennis players that don't play on the courts don't sometimes wear black sole shoes.
Has that been an issue, though, that there's black sole markings?
None
on
that
the
I've
Is it
heard
bad?
of. I haven't heard any, like, there's
Right.
bad markings on there, and Public Works is having to go down and clean it
Got
up.
it.
So
it seems like
it is
the
a-
main concern has been from tennis players about safety and
and
noise.
noise, yes.
Okay.
So can we, if maintenance has not been an issue,
Mhm.
can we not just set aside a time that they can use the courts for soccer?
I
I
suppose
mean,
it's
it's not,
possible.
Put up a net.
I don't play tennis down on the lower fields. I don't play tennis, period, to be honest with you.
Well, this is a tennis
I am
town.
not a skilled tennis player, but, and I know it's a tennis town. I know, we were voted tennis town.
Best tennis town, yes.
But is it really being used, every single night from 4 to 10 o'clock, every single court?
Or the
That we
cour-
can't set aside one Tuesday evening or something? I mean, I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, or is there a particular court that will make it so that it's a safer, so that it's not a court that's gonna hit it to another court? Is there a way that we can, I'm just curious if there's a way we could accommodate it, if that we can think through, if there's some way.
Or is there a way we could reach out to the school district?
But they
who
don't have
has-
lights.
Right, but it's summer. It's light till 9 o'clock
Yeah,
almost.
that's true for now.
For now, maybe that's a short term. I think the ideal would be that we find a time that they can use Lower Libby, and we just say, look, tennis players, we have to share. I know that's a big ask, but
Well,
but possibly the school district could help us out as well. I mean, there's tennis courts at Nordoff that are not being used. Is there still two one at
Matillaha.
Matillaha?
there's,
On the side there, so they're still
two.
there.
Yeah, there's two.
Again, yeah, and I know for a fact that they're not being used every day, so.
Right.
Yeah.
And especially, well, like you said, in the
Or they
summer,
could
they
be
could
used
pull it off, but, I think they do go probably 9-ish, 10,
Right.
10-ish, you know.
Later in the summer, it'll
Probably.
be dark.
Yeah,
'cause it's
it'll
hot,
still,
you
it'll
know,
still be
saying
dark,
that,
but I don't think it's out of the question to potentially use tennis courts for soccer. It's just, when are those times, and, again, you can't, you could potentially take the, right, noise and safety out of it by saying, okay, this is soccer time, but it's anyone's guess when tennis players will go and play,
Would
so
Rick
it's hard to
Thompson
say,
have any
like,
insight
hey,
on
I'm
this?
gonna book saying we're gonna book this time for soccer players only, and then if you come out and you wanna play tennis, you're gonna realize that this is soccer time, and you could be subject to a soccer ball coming over, or loud noise.
Well, I think
Right.
Well,
We could say this is,
It's
Post-
a
post
city
it.
facility.
we
It's-
could post it as this is the soccer,
I want to go
time.
play basketball in the gym, but it's gymnastics time.
right,
I mean,
That
what's
happens
the,
all
what's
the
the,
time.
that happens all the time.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
yeah.
So,
I think the safety issues are a concern. I think, I'm not dismissing that, but I'm asking other ways that we can figure out how to
Yeah,
accommodate
right.
it without.
I mean, if the ball going over the fence seems like a pretty easy one to deal with, as far as putting a net up. How many courts is it that are used when,
For the soccer guys,
Soccer.
well, clearly, there's 4 lower courts.
Right.
So they would be using one.
so it's just one?
One court.
It's not like
I don't
there's
think
like
it's 3.
Soccer
No, they're
Mondays
not
where
using-
everyone's
yeah,
taking
soccer-
over the.
No, I believe it's only one court.
Right.
I think that's all that's going on out there. It's
Yeah. And
one group of guys that come out and they want to use one of the courts. But again, it's, it's anyone, it's a sensitivity as far as noise goes and what you want to be exposed to, let's say. I don't know
I think
I don't
that-
know if there's bad language being tossed. I have no idea. I haven't been there when they've actually played.
It does seem like there's maybe a sociological issue tied into this that we're not talking about. But it does seem like they're public courts. I mean, I don't know if anything explicitly says they have to be used for tennis, but it does seem like figuring out a way to share them makes sense.
Yeah, but in my brief little, I did call a couple of other cities because of this situation. And some do, most do actually. They don't post that other activities aren't allowed, but the ones that I did call, several of them said they do have signs that say for tennis use only. Because we do have signs up there that say no scooters, no skateboards, because those will negatively impact the court. But there could be an argument for that too, like, do they? I haven't,
No,
if
I
I don't
think-
put scuff marks on it, then is it okay for me to ride my scooter
like
on there
we've-
because I'm not putting
I
scuff marks?
feel like we've covered
right?
those, and we had reasons when we did that, and it makes sense still, and they were due to damage and safety with the scooters. I think this needs, from my perspective, more thought and a way to look at possibilities versus just before making a snap decision.
Yes, I mean,
So, and the questions that you posed to those other cities are interesting, but the question was, were they only for tennis? It wasn't, the question was, are your tennis
Right.
courts only for tennis, right?
yes.
Yeah, it wasn't, do you have futsal and how do you accommodate it? So I just feel like we want to step back and take a bigger look at it and make sure that we're looking at, because I think that it's new and it's something different, and so we haven't accommodated it because it hasn't been something we needed, but I think we should look at it.
Yeah, I definitely don't, I'm not suggesting that, no, there's, I don't have that final say anyway. But that, I don't think it's out of the question to allow soccer on a tennis court. It hasn't had a maintenance impact in that
Right.
sense on the courts.
There's a question of
It's
safety, and we
just
don't have
Question
that.
of safety and
Look at the-
noise, if you will.
If you look at 4 parks and they're only using, or 4 courts, they're using 1, that means they're only using 25% of overall tennis space, so it's
Plus
it's
there's
just
still the
the lower
upper
court.
living
plus there's the,
Yeah.
yeah, there's upper, exactly.
upper, so yeah, there's a less
But-
percentage.
This was looking for a recommendation from our commission
Yeah.
to staff,
Yes.
I think, on
Yeah.
potential options and how to proceed.
Yes. And if you want to recap what your suggestion
Well,
is.
anybody else, more discussion?
I,
I think
No.
the line in which we're going, it needs a, like you said, kind of a broader look on it is a good.
So we need to look at the safety issues. What are they? Can we address them? Those are the two things I think are the biggest for me. And as far as specifically setting aside a facility for a period of time once a week, I think that's doable. We do it for our fields right now for various different sports at different times, even for drop-in type of activities, which this would be much more similar to a drop-in activity. It wouldn't be a programmed use. It would be, you keep it open for the potential of drop-in. So I think it'd be good to look at that.
So would the recommendation be that that staff discuss the safety and maintenance issues with Public Works?
Sure.
Is that where
I
we
agree
want
with
to go
that.
for now?
yeah.
So,
Okay. And then in the meantime, as well, does staff want to reach out to the tennis people?
I know the tennis people because I work with some of them, so I can do it.
That'd be great.
Procedurally, so who ultimately would make a decision, and also what's enforceable? I mean, if we designate a time or we say there's no soccer, like what practically?
Yeah,
Enforceable.
the enforceability of it is going to be tricky, because as I said, if we could designate a time, post signs that say Monday night soccer from 7 to 10 or 7:30 to 10. The other courts are still available and still can be used, but now at least they know there's going to be soccer out there on that night. There's going to be loud noise. The ball could potentially go in your court, and at least they have now that knowledge that, hey, if I'm going to go out and play tennis on Monday or Tuesday or whatever night it is down at the lower Libby, this is what I'm going to
Question.
playing along with.
What would prevent us? Are we missing an opportunity to actually create like a pickup futsal? Not even a league, just
A night.
drop-in futsal at Libby Park, and it be run through the rec department, just like a softball or dodgeball is, for instance. And you pay, $3 to get on the court, and that allows us to have somebody there enforcing it. That also allows us it to be a potential money generator.
Yep.
And it's a sanctioned event from Parks and Rec then.
The only thing I have to say about that is tennis players aren't paying to play tennis. If these guys want to go out and run their own game,
Right, but this is also us policing the court, stating,
it's certainly
hey,
a possibility. Like, that's the other thing I was going to say, like, drop-in frisbee, the ultimate frisbee. They work, sometimes there'll be people playing there, and so they'll accommodate them and move, I think there's a lot of potential for people to kind of, they understand that this is, like, there'll be soccer players out there a lot of times when they go to play, the soccer players know that that's ultimate frisbee time, and they move over. So I think the tennis courts is the same way. If no one showed up for ultimate frisbee, they'd keep playing soccer.
right.
Well,
So if no one shows up for,
not necessarily.
So-
Those lights they have to pay for.
Yeah, so I mean, it is a public park, so, you can go and play. So what the issue at Sarasota is lights. So
Well, I-
we have drop-in soccer.
Right.
And they're paying a drop-in fee instead of renting the field
Right.
in order to get lights. So
No, I
really,
underst-
the groups that are there utilizing those lights shouldn't be, in a matter of speaking.
I guess my point is, what I'm trying to illustrate is that they have the potential to come use the court. They have a set-aside time, just like those other activities do. But if they're not there and it's still light and they don't
Yeah.
need lights, anyone can use that court. And it would be the same thing, if no one showed up to do soccer and tennis players are using that court, that's fine, they can use the court. But they're using it at the risk of,
Yeah.
if these people show up to do a designated activity, you move off. And I think we have examples
that-
of where that's happening already.
Yeah, and at the tennis courts, they have the option to just pay for the lights, and that's what
It's
that
coin
group
operated,
does.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
they
no, I
don't
mean,
have that option in
that's not
Sarasota, so
part
it's a
of,
little
that's
bit
not even part of the
different.
equation
Yeah.
for this.
But
Yeah.
it does seem like, if this became popular and now people want to play on Tuesday night or they want to play on another court or during the day,
Well, this would
I
be a
don't know if the
stopgap
floodgates
for
will
the,
open for futsal soccer, but yeah.
but I think it brings up a bigger question of the use of these courts. Like, is it by default just for tennis unless we say at a particular time you can play futsal, or are we open to other
Um,
That's the
uses?
question.
Well, yeah.
So
The tennis
yeah, I
players
don't know
would
what the
say
answer
yes.
is. Yeah.
They're tennis
There are
courts.
futsal courts in the future master plan too, so it
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
be like a stopgap situation, not a final decision. It would just be, like you're saying, making it apparent that on this night, this could be happening.
Right.
And-
So I think information about safety is what we would want to learn more about, at least from my perspective. Because I don't think it's a good idea to say, hey, just know there'll be sound and balls coming. I don't think that's a good idea. I think we need to look at, are there ways that we could accommodate them, or is there a particular court where that's not going to be a problem? And
Yeah,
I'm not asking for an answer now, but these are the things
Yeah,
that
I
when we
don't-
come back
I
to
don't-
talk
I
about
don't
it,
have one.
I'd like to know.
Yeah.
That's,
Sure.
and, and talk some more about it and explore it a little bit.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think that's the route we should go. Maintenance.
Or go phase 1 at Sarasota Park and make that the first
So I
time
was
we
just
go.
looking at the CIP. I was just looking at the CIP, actually. It's not till fiscal year 17-18 that the basketball court's on there. Or
Yeah.
the all-purpose court.
The
we're calling it
all-purpose
now.
court.
So,
Yeah. Okay.
we got a little bit
well,
of a stopgap, but it is a,
We'll have some staff discussion about it too.
okay, thank you. Anything else on that? Rec staff reports, Ojai Bike Park. Commissioner Firestone?
Yeah, I talked to Toby from the Ojai Valley Bicycle Coalition today. She gave me an update. So they have a board with 8 members. They are working on getting all of their kind of website and stuff up, and so holding off on kind of formal membership beyond the board members until that's all set up. But they feel like they're ready to go with the bike park when the city, if and when the city gives the green light. The in-kind donations that are part of the budget, they've lined up, so that stuff is ready. And then as soon as there is a go-ahead from the city, then they would do fundraising for the cash donations, which would be for things like benches and shade that's not covered by the in-kind donations. I think that was about it as far as we go. I encouraged her to have someone from the coalition come to our meetings to give us an update. So she's going to work
On her end.
on having someone come for those.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Sophocles, was there any update on CEQA at all?
A little bit.
Okay.
Interim city manager McClary said that it is in, the environmental study is in process. It will take approximately 2 months to complete,
Okay.
was his input on that.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you. Sarasota Master Plan.
Yes, I made a very, we presented the Sarasota Master Plan before the Planning Commission last night. Can't say it was my best go around in presenting that to the commission. I had too much in my brain to have it come out, but the gist of it is the Planning Commission liked the layout, they liked the design, they expressed some, as we've heard this concern before, they expressed concern about the Boyd Center. They have heard feedback about what is the long-term solution for the Boyd Center. Is it going to be demoed? Is it going to be moved? What's going to happen to the Boyd Center? So there's public concern for that we've all heard throughout this process. So that seems to be the biggest concern with that project. And, you know, if we put that parking lot in, how will that work with the Boyd Center, or is it going to have to be, you know, moved, or, yeah, so that's, but other than that, they all liked the look of it, they liked the design.
They did.
It didn't take it to the step probably that it needed to, and I don't know if that's going to affect it moving forward. That, do they recommend that design or want to move that design. I don't know if we needed to hear those specific words that they needed to move the design to city council. Like, do you recommend this project, and do you accept and recommend this project to move to that next phase? So like I said, it wasn't my shining moment to kind of get that expression out and
How was it
and
agendized?
development.
I think it was just an informational item, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
We weren't
It
looking,
was-
I don't
it was
think
a
there was any
complete-
action
no,
required of them.
It wasn't. It
Yeah.
was mainly for feedback and input.
Yep, and we got that.
And that's what we got.
Bike racks, I like that one, that was a good piece.
Yeah.
I watched it home.
Yeah. So otherwise, it was a good thing. We bring it to the Historic Preservation Commission on July 14th,
Mm-hmm.
next Thursday,
Yes.
6 PM. So if you'd like to join and
To,
be there
just,
for that.
yeah, just to echo what Sophocles was saying, the majority of the planning commission really liked the design. They liked a lot of the aspects of it. Literally the only concern is the Boyd Center. But I would say a majority of the planning commission as well, didn't see it as a sticking point. It was more just, hey, what are we gonna do? It can be moved. Yes, it can be moved. It's been moved before. It can be moved again. How historic is it? That needs to be determined. But they also agreed that, it's an old building. It might be time. So, and it's not happening next week, that's for sure as well. So, but they did appreciate the overall plan, I think. So it was nice to hear.
Yeah, I thought that was
Yeah.
good.
So yes, I would encourage any of you guys to be at the HPC in a couple weeks if you can.
They didn't balk at the zip line or
No, zip line, turf hill,
the
water feature, they loved it all.
They
So it was
liked the
good.
hill,
Yeah.
No, the only addition that I
turf
heard
hill they
was
liked.
bike racks.
Was some
And
sort of
that, I
bike
thought
rack
that was
feature.
actually really good feedback,
Yeah.
because I don't
Yeah.
think we really focused on that at all.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
small
they did-
item, but.
They did talk, yeah.
Yeah, no, but I think that was really good feedback
Yeah.
to make sure that we put some bike racks in where they will, because now that we have the path.
Yeah,
People were really positive about the path, which I think was nice. No,
it was good.
You guys did a great job. Thanks for going.
Sure. Well, I wouldn't call it a great job, but
Well, you got it done.
yeah. That's awfully generous.
Summer programs and class activities.
I'll start off with our show and tell. Before we came to the meeting, Allison did a nice little collage of our summer program and activities, so I'll pass that around. A lot of happy campers and smiling faces, except for one.
He's
See if you could pick
laughing.
him out.
Saul thinks he's crying. I think he's
I
laughing.
Well, if you knew the camper, you would agree with me. But anyway, they're all having a great time. We're 3 weeks into the summer. Our numbers are up. I would estimate, well, not estimate. We had anywhere from, you have a number.
We'll have some numbers.
I'll let Allison give you some numbers, some camp comparisons here.
Yeah, so for day camp, so the numbers, there's all kinds of different things you can enroll for, a single day or a half day or whatever. So I just did kind of the broad kids that are there all day, every day throughout the summer. After week 3 last year, which is the week we're ending tomorrow, last year after week 3 we had 99 participants that were doing all day, full weeks. After this week, there's 154.
Wow.
So from 99 to
Wow.
154
Congratulations.
all day, full week campers. So that's across all the weeks, but so definitely increasing
Nice.
from last year. We went from averaging 30 or 40 to averaging 60 or 70 a day.
Yeah.
So it's been
A big jump.
a while.
And even though we added thanks, Allison. Even though we added a 15-passenger van, it's
Still
if you
needing
buy
more.
it, they will come, because we've been to capacity on the first 3 field trips. We've been to capacity and we've had waitlisted the first 3 field trips.
Wow.
Even with the additional
Wow.
15-passenger van. And I'll just say, as a side note, one of our council members has a couple of children in the camp, and they've been on the wait list. So we talked about a fifth 15-passenger van, maybe possibly. So
Maybe
it's nice to
council's
have
another
a
way.
council member having children participating in our summer program. You know, might prompt some things. What else about summer program? Do you want to maybe mention to our specialty camps?
Yeah,
Our
so.
1 week specialty camps.
Specialty camps are a little bit harder to judge the numbers, but as of right now, across all of our camps across the summer, we have 302 registrations, and we're not even halfway through the summer yet. So, been really good. We have just a couple of highlights. We have our horse camp, which is they do 6 weeks throughout the summer, and I think there's like 3 spots open total across the whole 6 weeks that they're doing. We had a Lego camp last week with 22 participants in 1 week. Cooking camps, we have 2 out of the 3 cooking camps are full. So we've had really great numbers, really great response to our camps this year. Added a couple new ones, which has been fun. And then as well as aquatics, I'll give you guys a quick aquatics update. So as most of you know, we rent the Villanova pool. We run a 6-week aquatics program. As of the end of today, we're officially halfway through that. So we just finished week 3. So public swim, we run in the afternoons. This time last year, we had 855 people come through the door. As of today, 897 people come through the door, so just a little bit above. But public swim has been really good. Our family swim passes, so you can pay to have your whole family come in, like a pass for the season. And we went from 45 last year to as of right now, we're at 51. So we could still be selling more of those. So those have been increasing, as well as swim lessons. I won't throw too many numbers at you guys, but with swim lessons have increased quite a bit, by about 40 since last summer. The other thing is we added private swim lessons this year.
How are those going?
Yeah.
Good, yeah, so in the past, we've always ever done groups, so we added privates this year. We weren't sure how they were gonna go, so we had pretty limited time and limited numbers, and they're all full. As of like the beginning of this week, all of our private
That's great.
lessons are
That's
full.
good.
And we've gotten really good feedback about that. People have appreciated that because, some group lessons don't work for everyone. So the
Yeah.
privates have gone well. No major incidents at the pool. I think the biggest thing we've had is a couple bee stings, which is to be expected at a pool. But staff are doing a great job and
Great, that's really exciting.
good stuff over there. Swing by the pool. Come for a dip.
And I'll make one more plug for our specialty camps. Our surf camps start next week,
Yep.
the first of our 4. So I think we have 2 consecutive, then we take a week break, is that right? And then
Yep.
2 more.
Yep.
So, and we go out to Ventura. We provide all the transportation and the surf equipment. So anyone out there want to do a surf camp, we still have space in our first week.
We do.
Yes.
Well, on a personal note, my 6-year-old son's been to the Lego camp last week.
Oh, yeah.
And got a couple friends to go with them as well. And
Yeah.
they had a blast. Every day, all 3 of them came back. Just couldn't stop talking about it, so.
If I could pick any camp to do, it would be Lego camp.
Totally.
I'm too old, unfortunately.
But yeah, they are having a lot of fun, so.
Good. Glad to hear that.
Good job, you guys, that's great.
Yeah, that's great. The numbers are sounding
Yeah.
really good.
Yep.
Revenue and expense.
Gosh, well, I don't really have a lot to report there. We're currently at 424,000. That doesn't include any of the revenue in June, which is going to be our biggest month of revenue.
Of course.
And so even though that number seems far away from the 500, 510 that I estimated, I still think we'll get there. I actually think in this month that revenue will probably go up. The June revenue will be about 80 to 90,000 just in that 1 month. It's just the way it works seasonally. Yeah. So, but at the next meeting, I'll have that number for you.
Okay.
There's been so much revenue in that month, our business office hasn't been able to input it into the system yet. So that's why we just don't have it in the system. But we had budgeted, we're at 424, and we had budgeted conservatively for 417. So we're actually
Ahead, right?
ahead of it, what we've estimated. So that's it on that.
All right. Any questions about that? No?
Oh, one more back to the programming. I always like to mention our movie night is it Ratatouille, the next one, or do we already have that one? Gosh,
Already happened.
yeah, it did. What's our next movie night? I
I
know
don't
it,
remember.
Is it
I
Big
know it's
Hero?
Friday
No, we did
that-
that one.
We did that
no,
already.
it's Friday
You keep talking, I'll
I'll
look it
keep
up.
talking, and you, let's plug our Friday night movies, which,
good idea.
again, we had Ratatouille, our last movie, and it wasn't as high a number as, I think we were in the, close to 70, the last parent night out, but this was right around 40 participants. And now we have a captive audience too, so our summer campers who are there till 6 just go right into the movie night, so they have a really long day, or the parents get a couple more hours after work to just have them go right from day camp to our movie night. But we'll let the public know what that next movie night is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's all, that's all on the revenue or
Okay.
activities.
Commissioner vacancies.
June.
Yeah, no problem. Last night we had the interviews with myself, Mayor Blatz, and Mayor Pro Tem Wyrick, and they went really well. Some good candidates. Reappointments coming as well. Mayor Blatz will be making his recommendation on July 12th, I believe. I know that's the plan. Possibly Councilman Wyrick can give us a little update on that in a bit, because I know the agenda came out while we were doing the interview, so hopefully that can be amended and be added, so. Hopefully soon we'll have a full commission again. Any other info from anybody else? No? All right. Commissioner reports, comments, anything?
At the skate park, there's been some like flat ground features that have been brought, but then since they're not really allowed in the park after hours, they've been taken to the city
Yard.
kind of
Mhm.
yard. I wondered if there's a room, not a room, but like a little, pardon me, cage behind there. I wonder if that was available for storage at all for anything, or it's just an option. When I go in there, people have mentioned there's no flat kind of box, as it were, a flat ground box, and that has been a popular thing. So when it disappears, it's kind of upsetting. But if there's a storage place that we could kind of fit in, it's just a mention. But
Did they not, have we, well, it was actually our department that went in and grabbed the flat
Yeah.
box and the rail. There was a long rail there too.
Yes.
And then I went back to the park later on and just mentioned to some of the kids that were out there, hey, if you know the owners, and they did. The kid, one of
to
the
take
kids
them
up there
away
said,
at
hey,
night, yeah.
that, yeah, I know. Did they get that back? Because we
I'm
were
not
storing,
sure,
we
yeah.
actually were storing that in our Quonset hut. And I
Okay.
told them they could just come to the
Okay,
rec
cool.
department and we give them
Store it there.
that.
Perfect.
Well, we give it back to them, but that we couldn't bring in outside elements
Okay. At all.
into the park.
Okay.
I think that's what you're asking. Can they put it in
Yeah,
there
if there's
daily?
a storage space, but if it's not an option at all, then I'll just
Yeah,
pass that information on.
Unfortunately, it isn't. There aren't
Yeah.
any outside
Okay, perfect.
equipment
That's
or
all.
elements allowed in the park.
Awesome.
So,
Thank you.
but hopefully they got it back. Have you heard anything, Allison, about them?
I don't believe it's been retrieved yet. I also picked up last week just a piece of plywood that was there that was leaning up against, like built into a jump. It was just a piece of plywood though.
Okay.
And I also picked that up and that's also at our
Yeah,
facility. So
there are
anybody who
some
wants to
things
pick
that make
those
it
up-
in that are really weird. But then,
Yeah.
like
No.
you said, there's sometimes fixtures, but I understand the fact that if there's,
Yeah, it just opens it up, of
Yes.
course, for anyone to bring
Yes, of
anything in
course.
there. So the line is
Nothing.
no outside. I mean, they were very well made. They're
yeah,
very
that's-
heavy.
when
I can
someone
say that
said,
much.
Oh, they came and took it away. Well, I get it. It was,
Yeah, no,
it's
I-
not allowed in here, so I
Yes.
get it. But if there's, but
Yeah,
it's
and
your-
I like I said, I went back and one of the, it was a teenager too, that I
Yeah,
wasn't
you
like, I
have to have
talked to
a
a
vehicle,
10-year-old.
I would assume,
He
to-
said, I know who it belongs to. And I said, great, tell them
Get
they
'em.
come over to the rec department and be
So,
happy
but
to
it's at the
return.
Quonset hut, not the yard.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not at the city yard.
Come to
it's at
rec,
a
not to,
rec.
Our
not to.
office,
Have them
not
go
to
to the
public.
park.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a substantial piece.
They both were.
Would,
Yeah,
yeah.
they were. Yes.
I have the movie nights up if I can throw
Yes,
that in.
throw it out there.
So the next one is July 22nd, and it is Minions. So I have not
Minions.
seen that movie, but I've heard that's very popular. So again, July 22nd, 6 o'clock drop-off, $10 per child. Play in the game room. Movie starts at 7, pick up at 9. Movie, pizza, popcorn. It's a grand old time. Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
The only thing I would say is and you might be able to speak to this a little bit more, is the Ojai Film Society is showing Raiders of the Lost Ark at Libby Bowl. So I think it's $12 for adults and $8 for kids.
Yep.
But the movies at the bowl are always good.
What's the date on that?
I do not know
Oh.
the date off the top of my head, sorry.
I don't either.
That's all right.
This Saturday?
Is it this weekend?
Yeah, okay.
It might be.
Oh,
There's
yes.
also music.
Okay.
There's music in the park also. I saw a lot of activity.
The Wednesday concerts have
Wednesday
started.
Wednesday concerts have
That was-
started,
it was
yeah.
Very popular, it seemed, and a lot of laughs and smiles I saw in the park. So
Yeah.
it's good to see.
Yeah, the Wednesday concerts are great in the park for all ages. I mean, they do the little balloon march for the kids, which is a blast, and so popcorn's like 50 cents, I think, so it's good. It's fun, good time, so. Anything else? All right. Our city council liaison report is Councilmember Wyrick.
It is
tonight.
July 9th, 7:30 PM for Raiders of the Lost Ark.
There we go. It is this week.
And is it the night after? Another music concert on the 10th?
The 10th,
I don't have it at my fingertips, hold on. But I'll look it up.
Isn't
Amber
that
did mention
the
it's a-
Springfield?
Yeah, Rick
Yes,
Springfield, you're
yes.
right.
On the
Yep.
10th.
That's right.
So we have Wednesday concert, we have Saturday night movie, we have Sunday night.
It's nice to see.
Tell you,
Yes,
Um,
Rick Springfield, July 10th, 6 PM.
for the old people, right? Nostalgia rock. I know, I went to a jamming, I'm going to go to more, when I went to one of the art centers, jamming Sunday night thing. And boy, all you have to do is start some music from, 30 years ago, and all those old people are up dancing. That's all it takes. Major. Sophocles, speaking of and this is kind of by example, a question about the whole issue of oversight on Libby Park. My had a couple of grandkids that flew in last night. Of course, the first thing you do is go to the playground. And so they were thrilled and just incredibly impressed and having a great time. They were trenching in there. There was some public works people digging trenches behind the playground. Do you have any idea what that's about?
I have no.
And again, that's the kind of thing that you should be aware of.
Yeah.
If something like that's going on in Libby Park. I have no idea it was hand trenching. I thought that was interesting. And I had no idea what they were doing.
Yeah,
Was
I
it-
can't think of.
Was it in the park itself or?
Yeah, right behind the playground.
Interesting.
But again, that's the kind of thing that I think gives example to what you were saying, Sage, about
Yeah.
the oversight. In fact, that's what came up in the interview process, is we were as much listening to the interviewees as asking questions of the interview. I mean, we were listening because, and I think we were trying to make the point as council people that we do consider the commissions extensions of the council. And there is a very, always keep in mind the oversight and recommendation function of the commissions. And don't be shy about asking questions and making recommendations that you think would make things work better. So I appreciated the interview process, yes, and we are going to, Mayor Blatch is committed to try and make sure that the agenda is amended to make sure we confirm the appointments, the nominations.
Great, thank you.
Because after this meeting, the 12th, we don't meet again until August.
Right.
So that will be done. I'm certain of it, all right?
Great.
And I'll leave it to him to officially announce the results of. The way our code works is that the mayor makes nominations to these commissions, and then they're confirmed by the council. And what we've done is the mayor controls the nomination process, and so he decides he wants to have an interview committee. That's his discretion. So it's ultimately the mayor's authority in terms of making nominations, and then they're confirmed by the council. So that's just how it technically works. So it's really up to him to officially make the report. I mean, I could tell you, but I probably shouldn't.
Save the surprise.
Exactly,
Yeah,
yes.
in terms of the couple other comments I wanted to make, one is that, yes, Councilman Henney and I talk a good bit about Parks and Recreation. And we have talked about the whole issue of how Libby Bowl should be, with the oversight for Libby Bowl, since we have had a sea change in how Libby Bowl is going to be operating. It's completely city now. It's not under contract to any other outside entity. It used to be part of the oversight was Parks and Recreation. How should we handle that? I think that is, certainly we've had that discussion, and I think it probably will, it's a very important discussion to have in our joint meeting. So it's very much on the front burner. I think, again, it'll be interesting to see how that works out. I'm not going to try to speak for my colleagues, but I think there is very much a lot of receptiveness to whatever you as commissioners think would be appropriate, because after all, you know more about it than we do. So please don't be shy again about how you think it ought to be done. I think there's a sense in the council that there should be some kind of commission, and we can't think of a better one than you. But what it comes down to, but that doesn't answer the whole detail of how to do it precisely. As far as the Sterling contract, again, you're exactly right. The Sterling contract is for operations. When the Sterling contract initially came up, it was more of an exclusive rights thing, and myself and other council people said, no. We're going to have more control over the facility than that. So Sterling is it's an event contract, not a turn over the bowl contract. So, and if that, I will not be voting for anything that does that. So if it's supposed to be an event, a by the event type of contract. So there still is plenty of room, exactly what you were saying, Sage, about at least what I'm expecting. I have yet to actually read the contract.
Nor have I, so.
But I'll be looking at it. I just got the packet last night and haven't had time to read it. In terms of the other thing that Councilman Haney and I are absolutely having no secret about is we want to make sure that the capital improvement plan includes this winter, if at all possible, restoring the sight lines to the Libby lawn, to the stage for Libby Bowl. We don't know if we're going to be able to accomplish that, but we are certainly hoping to make sure it's in the CIP, the capital improvement plan. That's still a work in progress. It hasn't been in the staff drafts, and we are going to be attempting Tuesday night to get it in there. We'll see what other council people feel about it. But I personally consider it part of almost a covenant with the community. That was part of the culture of this community to be, that was a disproportionate participation in the Libby Bowl events by the local community, was sitting on the lawn. It was part of our culture. We took that away. We need to put it back. I mean, that's my gut feeling. That's how I look at it. Yes, it will cost some money, and we need to try to value engineer that as well as possible, but nevertheless, we're going to be looking at doing that. At least two of the people on the council, we've expressed an interest in doing that. As far as and as far as Soul Park is concerned, again, I've been educated by your former commissioner and chair about the history with Soul, and it makes so much sense, right? Just listening to your report, you're bursting at the seams, which means you're doing fantastic. You're attracting customers because customers go where they appreciate the services they're getting, and it's facilities limited. So we have a facilities limited program, and we have two agencies that have excess capacity facilities: school board and county parks. Makes sense. Talk to county parks, talk to school board, explore possibilities. There's a natural complement there to talk about. Obviously the devil's in the details. But I certainly believe, at least you have, certainly Councilman Haney and I support in terms of exploring the options with the county parks. One other comment on that, and it's kind of a side, but has to do with bicycling, is that Complete Streets is finishing the master plan for bike paths, multimodal in the community. And one of the things that I personally am pushing for, and that is consistent with our general plan, is that we connect recreational sites with bike paths. And I'm taking an expansive view of that because the county is also definitely pushing bike paths. Supervisor Bennett is really pushing the tourism, destination tourism aspect of bicycling. And to my mind, at least in terms of the valley, our city master plan for bicycle paths should include connecting everything in the valley. And I mean that everything. I don't understand why Camp Comfort is overlooked. Sewell, the schools. I mean, we need to be looking at connecting all the recreation areas. It's in our master plan that we're supposed to be doing that. It's in our area of influence. The county's receptive to it. So I think we're on the cusp of some really important ramp-ups in terms of bicycle connectivity. And if the citizens in November pass that tax, I don't know if you've been hearing about this, but that tax that they're talking about for transportation includes bicycle, multimodal, not just cars. And that's $500,000 a year will be coming to Ojai that we don't have now. And that's up to us to decide how we want to deploy it. And I have a feeling this town's going to be pretty interested in the multimodal use rather than just, putting more asphalt in, or making everything smooth. So there's some exciting things on the horizon here that I think that are coming, and I just it's of interest anyway. And yes, I was kind of smiling to myself about the misters clogging. Yet another Golden State water. Is it white? Is it the white deposits that are clogging the misters?
I imagine.
Just like everything else is clogged by
to
Golden
detail.
State water? And I heard that you said it wasn't cost-effective to do the proper filtering and treatment?
Correct.
Certainly when we were approaching doing this piece of it, everyone was under the assumption it wouldn't be worth doing unless we made sure that we changed the water quality. So.
And I'm just saying to myself, it's hard to say this, but if the misters aren't going to work without decent filtering and treatment, then it's interesting.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate but it seems to be the case with. Word to the wise: if you checked your water pressure at your house recently, the Golden State water also destroys those pressure regulators that go into the house, and they stop. They don't last very long because the buildup eats away at the diaphragm seat, and so you check your water. Sometimes everything's fine, and all of a sudden you start hearing your pipes make noises. Check your line pressure, because Golden State doesn't check their line pressure regulators, and they're delivering 125, 110 psi to homes. The recommendations, this from McCann, it should be no more than about 60, 55. A lot of homes in this area are getting 80, 90, 100 psi because the regulators, it's just, again, another hidden cost of Golden State water. You get the hardware store and check your water pressure. Some of you might be surprised, wonder why you're having plumbing problems. And it's just part of the reason we have to, hopefully are going to move eventually to taking over the water company. But anyway, appreciate what you do. You're going to get some more people soon. I was very impressed with the interviews with those of you that are already here, and I think you've got more support than you realize on council. So just keep doing what you're doing. Any questions for me?
Any questions?
Thanks for being here. Really appreciate that.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I can't tell you. I'm sitting there watching my granddaughters play on the playground, and they're just going, "It's the best playground I've ever been on."
Yeah, it's always busy, so.
Yeah,
But definitely some exciting things. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Future meetings and agenda items. Obviously, the Public Works stuff, and,
So I think we should break that down.
okay.
Uh,
I think we keep on the Libby Playground and restrooms.
And restrooms is separate.
Yes.
Living restrooms, break it
Should
out.
be.
You'd like that as on Public Works or a discussion item, or just
We'd-
both, or?
I think it's a discussion item for us. I think Greg will be here
Well,
to
those two-
present, and then it'll be just
Well, those two could be updates, Public Works reports. The discussion item should be,
well, the restrooms are a discussion item, because we've never discussed it. He'll give us a report, and then we'll have a discussion.
He might have quite a bit more information
Yeah,
by
no,
that time.
that's,
Okay.
but I think it's something we're gonna
Yeah.
discuss.
Libby restrooms, I'll put it on as a
Yep.
discussion item.
And I think the same is true of the north parking lot.
yeah, the
That's
parking
also a
lot now,
discussion item.
yeah, especially with the possibility of slurry and mulberries and all of the above.
And then I would like to add a discussion item, possibly for recommendation, the CIP process,
Yes.
as it pertains to our participation in it, and how and when.
Agreed.
Was there something else? I wrote something else down, hold on. That's all, I can't remember.
The only other thing I would say is if anybody has any last-minute ads for the joint meeting, let us know before that if you can, or if it pops into your head that night, let us know. Any other, and then obviously the standard staff reports on the bike park and Sarasota master plan by that point after it goes through HPC and everything.
Yeah, we'll keep that on for the staff updates.
Yeah.
And then one more time, the HPC is the 14th of July.
Correct.
It is.
Okay.
6
Just to-
PM. Mhm. And the next meeting date of August 4th?
August
that-
4th, yes.
That works for everyone? No,
Yes.
no conflicts there?
I actually have one more question for Councilmember Wyrick, since he's still here. The Sarasota master plan was reviewed last night by the planning
Planning
commission.
Commission, yes.
They didn't make a recommendation or approval or of any nature. Do they need to for it to go forward to you guys?
No,
It's just purely an informational?
Yes.
Okay,
same with HPC.
perfect.
It's all
At this
Just wanted to
point.
double check.
Yeah, and the way that works legally, I mean, in terms of the code, is these are city facilities.
Right,
So, you know, you don't require, for example, HPC to have to approve a city facility. It's
Right.
basically, the city can govern itself.
right,
So those are for input input only,
okay.
and the sooner it
check.
can get to council, the better, as far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned.
Definitely.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah.
So hopefully, maybe August.
Clarification. Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
Maybe
even
council,
potentially.
it'll be in front of council in August, hope, maybe.
All right.
Yes.
All right, anything else for anybody? No? All right, meeting adjourned, thank you.